Hello, welcome to Examining Fictional Heroes and the authors behind them. My name is Wayne Browder. I have a few brief excerpts to read today. The first will be from this book. It will be another segment from a story by Robert E. Howard about the character Francis Xavier Gordon. One of the most persistent legends in circulation about Gordon was that he was an enemy of the English. This had its basis in his refusal to be awed by gold braid and brass buttons, and in his comings and goings in tranquil disregard of all rules and regulations that apply to the general run of folk. He had no reverence for the authority which bedecks itself in pomp and arrogance and arbitrary worship of precedents. And he did have an abiding contempt for certain types of officials, whether civilian or military. So he was violently hated by the latter, and their opinion was sometimes accepted by the unthinking as an index of governmental opinion. But the men who actually rule India, moving unobtrusively behind the scenes, knew El-Borak for what he really was. And though they did not always approve of his methods, they were his friends and had profited by his aid time and again. But the Persian had no way of knowing this. He knew just enough about Gordon to be readily deceived as to the American's true character. Much of the tales he had heard about him had been lies, were facts distorted out of all proportion. To the Sheikh, El-Borak was just another lawless adventurer, not quite gone native, but still beyond the pale of respectability, and therefore quite likely to fall foul of the government at any time. Next, a short quote from the book To the Far Blue Mountains by Louis L'Amour. You know what you respect and what you do not. So all that is left is to weigh each law, each idea against what you know. Decide how you would like things to be, and then work to make them so. And lastly, a short piece from Sackett's Land. I've a regard for the law, although I do not always agree with it. The reason that I picked these excerpts to read is it seems very common thinking today simply to follow people because they're in some type of leadership or authority position, whether that be at your job or whether that be in some form of government. I personally have always found such thinking difficult, to say the least. You have to have a set of values to live your life by. your own beliefs. And often it takes a great deal of time to build a real foundation for what you believe. But if you truly do believe something, you have to be willing to stand by that, or you begin to diminish yourself. I have seen it written that the man of honor makes his own decisions and follows his own beliefs about such things. I believe that that is the same concept of which I just read. You know your beliefs. So from there, you have to decide what things you will follow and what things you will not. Also, at the end of the Gordon segment about how the sheikh could be readily deceived about Gordon, you're going to find many people in your life like that. People who have heard this or that regarding you, particularly at your workplace. And they're going to form their opinions about you, not by what you do, but by what other people tell them about you. So you have to be prepared to understand that and to deal with it. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. I appreciate any likes or dislikes, any comments. Anything of that nature would be great. Even follows, those would be great as well. Thank you. Have a good night.